start up where we left off last time. So we got our freshly painted discs, we got our freshly painted hubs as well. So silver hubs, carbon ceramic brakes, which look absolutely fantastic. I have to say, very proud of this colour. Self-creation from myself, and I think they look absolutely brilliant. So we're going to have the centre in chrome, well, not chrome, bright aluminium. The disc PE is carbon ceramic. And then we've got a centre part, which is painted in, it's just black. So we get these glued in place with a few dabs of glue. They look absolutely great, as you can see there. And then we'll get our centre hubs in place as well with some careful gluing. So no real recess or anywhere for these to sit. They literally sit on top. Not the best. I would have liked a more positive locating point for them. But as long as you're careful, line it up. And if you're in any doubt, use a wheel to double check everything lines up. Speaking of which, we're going to look at the hubs now. So the hub's been painted in semi-gloss black. The caliper for the handbrake has been painted in semi-gloss black as well. So that just slots over the edge. There's two locating points on the back for each disc. Sorry, for each caliper. So we've got the handbrake one in, and then we're popping in the actual braking caliper as well. We're going to pop some glue in the back for each one. And then slide the caliper over the top and into its locating point on the back. It's been dried now for a good 24 hours to make sure the clear is nicely dry. And there we go, there's everything lined up. As always, the Bob Smith gives you a little bit of working time. So we'll just get everything lined up. And then grab a wheel to test fit that everything still fits. And that hub, caliper and disc is all centerized properly. Get the right wheel. There we go. Perfect, looking good. And obviously we'll repeat that for the others too. So just take your time here. This is not a point where you want to screw up, because this will interfere with the ride height of the car. Not necessarily the ride height of the car as much, but the hubs are important to get correct. But making sure that the wheels fit and they sit straight and true. Make sure that the discs are orientated the right way with the calipers. And make sure you get the correct side as well. So keep referring to instructions, test fit, use the wheel to test fit that everything fits still as well. And don't commit to gluing these wheels on until you're ready. So we've got a freshly flocked interior, flock, yeah. I'm going to put some Bob Smiths around the edge and glue our seats in place. So a little bit of fiddly to get in place these, so just line them up. I found putting the front in first helped. And then same for the other side as well. Test fit, and then commit to glue. I went with Bob Smiths on the first one and changed it to this one because it just wasn't gripping enough for the seat. So there we go. Just be warned, if you are using non-foam safe glue on an interior, if you put the glasswork in and create any kind of enclosed area, the CA can flog. Oh my good God. The CA can fog the plastic, so bear that in mind, which is why I tend to use the Bob Smith as much as possible. We've got the rear section of the centre console in place, just glued in with a couple of dabs of glue. Same for this front section here as well. Make sure everything lines up. We've got an inner part here we painted in Napa black last time. Make sure everything's straight, line it all up and push it home, like so. And then a quick test fit, we're going to pop the dashboard in, the door cards and the interior just to test fit everything, see how it fits in. So dashboard in first, regardless of what the instructions say. Most of these I put the dashboard in first. And then door cards, and then the rear section slots in the back. There's a little hole that slots in. And there we go. And unlike the last resin car kit we did, I can get this interior back out. There we go. So with that, we need to clean up all our body now. So we've got our Trizac 3, 6 and 8000 pads from 3M. Some water with washing up liquid in. And we're going to flat this clear coat all the way back. Standard procedure. You've probably seen me do it a dozen times. But I'll always go through it because you never know if someone new's watching or you pick something up. So the washing up liquid's in there to aid friction, lack of friction, any nasties that may come off the paint or off the sanding pad, should float on the soapy surface rather than scratching the paint. I think that's the theory anyway. And it does make sanding a bit easier because it adds a little bit of lubrication to it. So just go around, systematically sand everywhere. So we start with the 3, then we go to the 6, the 8, and then we're going to go to the UMP polish system to get rid of all the sanding marks. But doing this, we'll get rid of any dust that's in the finish, any high spots, any imperfections, and it'll also, more importantly, thin out the 2K and get rid of that thing a lot of people complain about, of it looking like syrup. Now, it's going to look shiny because cars are shiny. Most people strive to get their car shiny. People have a living in making cars shiny. So unless you want a car that looks like it's had, 24 crashes in its life, we all want a good looking car. So I want a good looking model. I want a shiny model. So I'm striving to get the best finish I can get. Now, ProScale is one of the thinnest 2Ks I've seen by far. And you can tell that by the fact it doesn't fill the panel lines in, which will become apparent when we're doing polishing. So doing this does thin a little bit more, does make it look a bit more realistic. Scale effect on models is difficult to do, but for me, I want a shiny car. That's all I want. And anyone who says they don't in real life, well, we all do. That's the sign of a clean car. It's nice and shiny. Like I say, people make their living off making cars shiny, so I want that in my model. So we've gone through all 3 Trizec pads, the 3, the 6, the 8, and now we're on to the ultimate polish system. We're on to the compound first, which is the more aggressive of the 2 polishes. My light's gone a bit weird. I haven't got my center light on over the top. I must have forgot to put it on. We've got some old t-shirt here, and we're going to go around and we're going to polish up. Now, the idea of going through the Trizec pad is you go from the most harsh to the least harsh, and that way you are removing the sanding marks from the previous abrasive pad. And then we have the more aggressive polished compound of what is compound, to remove those micro abrasions from that. And then we've got the much less aggressive polish, which will move the micro abrasions from that as well. So we're slowly working it up until we end up with a very, very finely polished surface. Now, you need to be careful with polishes and compound and sanding, that you stay away from any that you stay away from any raised areas or edges where the paint is inherently thinner, because it's so easy to burn through. Been there and done it, and it ruins all your hardware. But with the polish and the compound, just go around until you're happy you've got every square inch. Give it a good buff up, or a good polish up, and then good buff off with a nice clean cloth. Be careful, this is a resin kit. Those roofs are still delicate, they will break, so don't be going at it like a madman. As I say, you'll notice using our 2K, the panel lines get clogged a lot more, which shows you how much thinner our 2K actually is than some of the others. So with that, I got an old toothbrush in there and give it a scrub out. And if that doesn't work, take it to the spray booth, load the airbrush up with clean water, and jet wash any of the parts free of compound. Once we've gone around the compound, we can get the polish, which is a lot thinner, a lot less aggressive, and we can polish up all the body to a nice high shine. So like I say, careful on the raised areas, like all those little ribs on the bonnet there, you can see them, the raised areas. If you go over those too much, it will burn through them. It's just what it will do because the paint is thinner there. So just take your time, go around, and you can always repeat steps as well. If you think it needs sanding again, or polishing again, or compounding again, you can go over it again should you wish. But we're just trying to work our way to the best possible finish we can get. Once you're happy with that, give it a good buff over with a clean cloth, and there we go. There's one freshly polished body. 2K looks a lot better now. We've got rid of any imperfections or dust. We need to get rid of any remnants of polish in that now as well. And then we can do our windscreen surrounds. Now, I used to do the black on the windscreens before 2K. Now, the last few models I've done it after. And I've actually found it makes the windscreen stick a bit easier because we're putting the glue on a matter surface, so it's going to stick easier. And I found it just makes the windows a little bit easier to do. It's no more difficult painting now than earlier. You still need to be as thorough as you were before. The plus side now is if you do get any paint on the 2K, it will wipe off with the likes of IPA or what have you. So it is easy to remove them off matte paint. But we're using the case, well, in this case, we're using 1, 2, and 3 mil Tamiya tapes Then infilling with the larger Tamiya tapes and getting into larger areas with some cling film, saran wrap, sandwich wrap, whatever you want to call it. And then we're in the booth, we've got some LP5 Tamiya. I'm going to put a couple of coats, getting all those angles in there. Make sure your tape is fully burnished down and detack all your tape before you put it on as well. But make sure it is burnished down over the parts and just put nice light coats of paint down. Probably 3 light coats all the way around I'll do to make sure it is all fully covered. And this step alone brings the car alive, I think. Once you get these windows masked, it just adds a bit of depth and reality to the kit. So take your time, work your way around until you got nice even coverage, but don't hose the paint on because you might end up with paint bleed through. On the interior, we're going to brush paint some Vallejo model colour black with a nice flat Tamiya brush. So we're going to get all the roof lining down the A, B and C pillars. We're also going to do the wheel arches as well. So you could mask and paint this, but by the time you faff around doing it, I think it'd be an absolute nightmare. So I always brush paint this. It's not seen at all really. So I find no problem brush painting it. And all we've done with the model colour black is added a drop of water in there, just to thin it a touch. And as I always say, it's actually quite nice to brush paint things for a change. Something we don't tend to do as much anymore. I certainly don't. Probably 90% of what I paint is airbrushed. So it is nice to do a little bit of brush paint. I have no idea what I'm pointing at. I'm obviously pointing at something. But it is quite nice to go back to brush painting every now and then. And there we go. With that done, we can get our interior in. So a couple of strategic places of CA glue. We can pop this in place. So a couple of pieces on the top. Get that in lined up, and then we're going to add some piece of some dabs of CA glue underneath at the back as well. Past experience of doing these interiors, I've always found add a little bit extra in the hidden areas too. Once you've got some CA glue in there, grab some activator. In the lid, I like to spray it out, like so, and then get a fresh micro brush, pop it in, just touch it to the CA glue and it should dry it instantly. There we go. Never spray it onto your model. It's not good getting on your model. On the door cards, there's a little inset where they sit, so a couple of dabs of CA glue in there as well. And then very carefully line these up. Get them to pop into place like so. And again, we'll put a couple of dabs of CA glue underneath at the bottom too. There we go. And again, hit it with a kicker. Just to instantly set these in place. Gotta say, so happy I repainted that leather. It looks so much better in the Bordeaux red. I just think it looks better against this grey. Obviously, repeat that for the other side too. Get the door card in. And again, hit it with a kicker to hold it in place. You don't have to use kicker. I just find it easier to set everything so it's not going to fall out when you assemble parts. And then we'll slot the rear piece in. We've got the center rear view mirror in place as well. Just needs a little touch up of some black paint on the exterior part. Like I said, there's a little notch at the back here where that piece slots in, just like that, and then it pushes down at the front. And then we go, there's the interior in, so we're going to put a couple of strategic places of CA glue at the top on each side. And again, hit it with the kicker to secure it all in place. And there we go, there's our interior in. It's looking really nice as well against that Cumberland grey. There we go. A couple of dabs of CA. And then we need to drill out the hole. So drill the small hole to begin with. Tested the screws, not quite big enough. So I grabbed a bigger screw. Now these vary from kit to kit, so I can't say use X, Y, and Z on these. I think this is about the 1.5mm bit. It's hard to tell. So we've got the two in the back. They're screwed in to line up the front. I'm just going to drill through the holes in the chassis just to get these in. Don't go mad and drill all the way through because you end up coming through your bonnet. Just drill deep enough for your screw. Like I say, that grill we built earlier just needs rolling a touch. Not a huge amount, so we use a sponge sander to pop this in place. And with some careful angling, we can get it in. There you go. Looking for something else to roll on. This is probably the softer option. It's a nice little trick, this. So I got a micro brush. Just very gently roll it. Doesn't take a lot at all to roll it to get it to bend. But we want to get it rolled and curved slightly without breaking all the PE we did earlier. Or scratching off the paint. Once you get it correct, it should just slot in place. We can get a little dab of glue in there. No idea what's going on with my light. It's gone absolutely mental. It's going to calm down in a second though. And there we go. Just keep pushing it in until you're happy. You may find a few areas get a bit of glue on and the paint wipes off. We can touch those up later on. But for now, we're going to glue these in place. So we've got the front and rear bumpers to go in. They're not technically bumpers, they're kind of intakes. So there's the front one. Just glued in place, looking good. Fully carboned and 2K'd now as well. We did that off camera. Same with the back one in place and the lower chassis, which we've also 2K'd the back end of this. And now we can pop our screws in to hold the chassis in place. So when you're screwing these screws in, you shouldn't have any resistance. If you do notice there's real resistance, stop screwing, take it out, widen the hole a touch. You don't want to get halfway in and the screw gets tight, because all you're going to do is crack the resin. And in worst case, it's going to crack right through the body and absolutely destroy it. So really take your time here. Make sure that hole is drilled wide enough. And the same on the back as well. Get everything lined up. You can see just how easy they're going in. Absolutely perfect. There we go. I have to say that red interior looks absolutely fantastic. Now we can get our hubs in place. Now, obviously, pay attention. Look at the real life references of the car, your instructions, to make sure you get the discs and calipers and the hubs in the right position. Once you're happy with it, give them a dab of glue each and pop them in place. Like so. At this point, be very careful getting glue on your fingers and getting it all over that beautifully polished body, because it will destroy all your hard work. If you ever do though, super glue debonder will take it off. You may have to polish the surface again, because it does take a bit of the shine off it, but super glue debonder does take CA glue off. One of my viewers found that a while back. I can't remember if it was Luke, Aussie Luke, Pom Built, who told me about that. So nice tip there if you did, buddy, thank you. There we go, there's our discs and calipers in place, and they're looking really good. Then we can get our wheels in place as well. So make sure you get the right wheels. They're wider on the back and the front. Once you're happy you got the right ones, put a dab of CA glue in there and glue them in place. Make sure they're all straight. There we go. Same on that as well. This is where the hard work earlier, test fit and everything, ensures everything fits in there perfect. Again, make sure your stance is right before popping the last wheel in place. Doesn't take a lot of glue at all. You really don't need a lot. You can use PVA based glue if you want as well. But for me, I use the CA glue to get all 4 wheels in place. There we go. Very nice ride height as well. It sits really well. The stance is perfect on the car. And our number plate, we painted this in black earlier on. And this is my usual trick with these number plates. I sand the raised areas with an ultimate sanding stick like so. And it takes the lettering off the raised areas, leaving the black behind. And gives us a nice looking number plate. I like this look, and I do it on all my Alpha Models kits. And there we go. Hit it with a buffer for a final shine at the end. And then we're going to pop this in place. So a couple of dabs of Bob Smith's glue. Grab the plate, make sure it's not upside down. And as you can see, the video froze here for some reason. No idea why, corrupted the footage, but hey, we got it glued in place. On the front end of the car now, we can see our front grills and our carbon. Our lights are in place, and we've got the light glass to go in. So cut off and cleaned off the pour plug. We've got our Sharpie, we go around all the edge and add the outer edge to the light. Again, something that adds a lot of depth to the model. Well worth doing, just takes a couple of minutes to do. Just be nice and careful, use the edge of the Sharpie. And then test fit, once you're happy with the test fit, give it a bit of Bob Smith's in each corner. This is a non-fogging glue, so it won't fog the clear part at all. But you want as little as you can to hold the part in. So I just go in both corners, grab the part, get one corner in place, and then slide the other corner in. Hold it for a few seconds, let the glue grab, and we can repeat that to the other side. And again, like I say, be very wary of glue on your fingers. It's very easy to glue yourself to the model, as it ruins all your hard work and just makes a lot more work for yourself. So just be careful. If in doubt, wipe your hands, have a towel to wipe your fingers on, and just keep them away from the paintwork if in any doubt. So with those glued in place perfectly, we can move on to the rear lights. And these are a bit tricky. So there's a photo etch center in 3 parts on the back. So while they're on the fret, I painted them in X27 clear red. And then cutting it off, cleaning it up. We're going to offer it up to see how it fits in. It fits in quite well. So with some strategic placing of Bob Smith's, very carefully with our precision nozzles, we can glue the center in, and then we'll do either edge to match. There's then also a clear piece of acetate to go over the top of this. So they're quite tricky to do, but not that bad really in the long run. Just take your time. Line everything up. Like I say, get a bit of work inside the Bob Smith so you can move it around a bit. It is quite forgiving. Like I say, do the center first, and then the edge, and just push it in. You'll see that it fits in perfectly like so. There we go. Just push it in and hold it. There we go. Same for the other end as well. There we go. Nice and simple. A little bit tricky to do, but it is nice and simple in the long run. There we go. And then the edges just need rolling a touch as well. So on a sander again with a micro brush. I do have a proper roller machine. I never use it. It's just like an angle piece of aluminium. Machined piece of aluminium with all little divots in. And you get these rolling little pins. I never ever use it because I just use a sander. Always have. I just find it easier and quicker. By the time I dug out the machine, I can roll it on something and have it done. There we go. Once we're test fitted it and got the right angle, we can grab some Bob Smith's, grab the part. We're going to push one edge in on the very pointy edge first, like so. Get that glued in place. And then hold it with our finger while we push the top part in. And just hold it until the glue grabs it. Same on the other side, repeat that. And then we've got the clear part here now. So we're having a little bit of a test fit with this. Just to see how it fits. It seems to fit absolutely spot on. So we've got some glue on there already. I'm just going to glue one edge in the center first. Just push it down and line it all up. And then get the final edge in one go. There's a protective film on this, so don't worry too much about marking it. Just concentrate on getting it all burnished in place. Use a cotton bud to get it burnished down. So it is a really good kit, this Amalfi, almost flawless, but there are some very tricky pieces on it like this. These are tricky to do, and there's no real easy way of doing it. So my advice would be just get on and do it, really. It's all you can do. The same with the corner pieces as well. Same as we did with the PE, get the corner in, get it glued in place, get it held, and then burnish it down, folding it over slowly until you get it in. So it's quite an easy part to muck up as well, which is the most daunting part of it. But you've got a clear plastic on the edge of the acetate, so any glue that gets on it you can wipe off. So make sure you're keeping the glue off your fingers like I'm doing there. And just have patience, use your tweezers to hold everything in. Now I did find these outer edges were a little bit too long, so I did trim them in the end. But I'm just holding it to get it in place right now. But wasn't quite happy with how it was sitting. So I'm going to grab the photo etch shears and just take off about a millimetre. There we go. Make sure the fingers are clear of CA glue, as you can see. Got the tweezers again, and this time it fitted in absolutely perfect. There we go. Slotted in place like it was made to go there. There we go. Same for the other side as well. And then the satisfying part, which I'm gutted today because I missed it on the windows. I must have missed recording it. Is taking off the acetate film off the lights. And yeah, the lights went on really well. Very, very good. Very happy how these went down. Like I say, they are tricky to do. But just have a go at doing it. What's the worst that could happen? Well, you could ruin your model if we're honest. But it's only 3 pieces of PE and 3 pieces of clear plastic. It's not that difficult to do. It just takes a steady hand over the confidence. This is where the Bob Smiths pays off in dividends. Now the windows, my little trick is to apply a little bit of masking tape as a handle on the outside. Bend it off the plastic itself. Do not touch the inside at all. Always have a little bit of a test fit to make sure it fits, because some of these have been a little bit wide in the past. This one, pretty much perfect. Pop it back on the plastic. Bob Smiths again, strategically placed all around the edge. We're going to put a few dobs here and there. Then we get a cocktail stick and spread it out all evenly. These precision nozzles, I can't recommend them highly enough. They are a game changer for me with super glue. You can just get it exactly where you want it, quickly and easy. There we go. Once you got all the glue in, spread it out with a cocktail stick. Any areas that are thicker than the others, then grab the window, line it all up perfectly. If it needs a bit of a bend, give it a little bit of a bend, get it in, get a cocktail stick, and keep burnishing the edges until it goes down. Now, it does take a little bit of work to do. I've left the full footage in of me doing this. So because it's Bob Smith's, it does take a while for the glue to grab. Like I say, putting the black over the 2K, I think definitely helps this. I find it grabs a lot easier. Obviously, a porous surface is easier to stick to than a gloss surface. So I definitely find it does help a little bit. But just keep burnishing it down with a cotton bud. Hold it with a cotton bud if you need to, while you grab another one. Become like an octopus here, juggling stuff. Get 2 in there at a time. Like so. And then you can grab another one and keep burnishing the edges down. There we go. Look at that, multitasking at its finest. There we go. And we just work our way around, getting all the corners down. Now I have used double-sided tape before on these and it did work well. On this one, I just went straight at it with glue and it worked absolutely fantastic. No bother at all. This is one of those things, the more that you do it, the better you'll get. So perseverance is key. I think I've built about 8 of these kits now, maybe 9. I'll lose track now, I've done. So the more you do it, the better you get. But yeah, just take your time. And there we go. There's one windscreen in place. Just needs to hold that corner for another second or 2. So don't use any kicker on this. It will destroy the clear glass. Most definitely don't get any kicker on there. No idea what I'm doing with that now. I think I'm lifting the edge to see if I can get a glue in there. I can't. So if you get any edges that don't glue down, if you can lift or touch and get a little dab of glue in there, that will solve your problem. But if you put enough down to begin with, burnish the clear down enough, that'll get down in one go. So just take your time. Same on the back, exactly the same procedure. Easier on the back and side windows because they tend to be flat. So they glue on a lot quicker and easier. Just burnish it down with the cotton bud. I like these pointed ones from Amazon. They do the job perfectly. And there we go. And the same on the side as well. Use as little glue as you possibly can, because that is what you'll see if you make a mess. And the final part is this side here. So adding these little tabs of masking tape are very helpful for holding apart as well. There we go, burnish that one down and that's in place. And we can get our wing mirrors in. So just a dab of Bob Smith's in place. Little locating hole on these. These have been carbon fibered as well. So very sparing amount of CA glue in there. There we go. And they kind of slot into their gap. We've got the metal decal in there for the mirror as well. We popped that in earlier. And there we go. Aston Martin badge on the bonnet. Like I say, I missed my favourite bit. I missed me taking the clear protective film off the windows. Lost the footage. I think I had some corrupt footage on this card. We had that bit before the froze. And there's a couple of bits I know of filmed that have kind of vanished. So I think I've had a bit of a corrupted card. So this one will be given a format when it's done. But maybe it's time to replace the card. Some of my SD cards are knocking on a bit now. I have 13 in total that I use for filming. And I know some of them are a few years old now, so maybe it's time to replace a few of them. Rear Aston Martin badge in place as well. No decal solutions on these, we just burnish them down and leave them be. Back end of the car is looking great. And then a final polish up. So we've got the Ultimate Modeling Polish System shine here. I haven't shown me spraying it, but I've sprayed it onto this cloth, which is an oversized glasses cleaning cloth. It's not abrasive, it just wipes on and hazes up, and then you can buff it off to a nice high shine. But what a beautiful looking car this is. Really good model. It's built up with no problems whatsoever. Big break from me starting this. In the first few scenes of the video, I've got a long sleeve top on. And in the past few weeks, it's been that hot. It's been nearly 30 degrees. But there we go. Look at that. Beautiful high shine Cumberland grey, 2K clear coat. Lovely Bordeaux red interior with those lovely bright aluminium wheels and red calipers. Yeah, absolutely stunning model. Really good on this one. Highly recommend this one from Alpha Models. And yeah, really nice build and just a beautiful looking car. So got some pictures of it here. So going back to part one, this was primed in Pro Scale grey primer, several coats of Pro Scale Cumberland grey metallic paint. It was 2K clear coated. It was given a black, 2K clear coated Pro Scale 2K. It was given a Tamiya black panel line wash. Wheels are bright aluminium. The calipers are Brembo red, both from Pro Scale. Discs are carbon ceramic from Pro Scale as well. Interior is a mix of Pro Scale Bordeaux red leather and Napa black leather with some black flocking on the carpets as well. We carbon fibered the sills, the front bumper, rear bumper, and diffuser as well. And that's about it. Absolutely beautiful looking model. Looks absolutely stunning. And the stance is absolutely beautiful on this thing. And I think that colour, Simon knocked it out of the park with this suggestion because there's a beautiful colour. And you can get this colour for yourself off our Pro Scale site.